Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Communities Live here on Sheffield Live 93.2 FM. And we have X Factor runner up, Janet Devlin. Good afternoon.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, before we go to talk about your new single, I've got to talk a bit about X Factor.
Mhm.
What made you want to go on X Factor? What was it that appealed to you?
So I was 16, so I was a kid. It wasn't my idea per se. Only because I had a YouTube channel. At the time, I was uploading covers at the weekend. And it done quite well. I think I had like in 2010, so like the numbers are very different back in those days, but I had about 20,000 followers on YouTube. And one of my videos in particular had done really well. And my mom had seen that you could apply for X Factor with a video. So naturally, she's like, well, why don't you just submit one of your videos? Because, the worst case scenario, they don't take it, and that's okay. And I was like, okay. So I just kind of rolled with the punches, and every step further I got, I was even more surprised that I was still there.
There must have been, when we see the X Factor show itself. There's thousands upon thousands of contestants, and to say that you came fifth place, that must have been that's an achievement in itself.
Yeah, I think I was just grateful for the opportunity, out of all things. As a kid who didn't really have that much confidence and who lived as far away from show business as you can live. I never thought having a career in music would ever be a possibility for someone like me, and I think the show just gave me that confidence in myself to pursue it.
Do you still keep in touch with the judge who mentored you, Kelly Rowland? Do you still keep in contact?
I am the worst person to keep in contact with in general. I have really bad ADHD. So I just every day I wake up and I'm like, how is there like 130 unread messages on WhatsApp or like whatever? I just can't stay on top of it. So by no fault of hers or mine. Also, I think, um, after the show, I'm pretty sure she went back to America and she, continued her music, and also she then became a mum. All of these things. Um, uh, I was also figuring myself out because like I said, was a teenager, um, and I was, still trying to find my own self. So I have only love in my heart for her. So.
How long was she? Was she mentoring you every day as well when you were in the finals? Then, or was like was she there the whole time, or was she there like every so often?
It was impossible for any of the judges to be there every single day, because the marketing and the PR and the media that goes along with, because they also are used to plug and promote the show, so they have to go and do their own rounds of promo and scheduling and stuff, and so did we. So it was rare that we'd all kind of be in the same place at once, but normally I think you'd see her on the Monday, and then you'd see, if you didn't see her on the Friday, then you'd see her on the Saturday. But if you didn't see her on the Monday, you would have seen her on the Friday and then the Saturday. I'm pretty sure that's the way it went.
So, I've got to talk about influences, and so who
Mhm.
influenced you as a singer? And also, the second part of this question I want to ask you is if there's anybody that you could work with in the near future, who would it be and why?
Right. My influences, v- very wide spanning. Because I can think back to like when I was a kid and what music I was digesting. My parents are like through and through country music lovers. So am I. My babysitters, who were my cousins, one of them loved dance music, so I loved Moby and oh my God, Fatboy Slim. And then my other babysitter, my other cousin, was loved rock. So it was like your Kerrang and your Scuzz, anything that was there. So it was quite a wide palette. And then also I was in a traditional music group. I was in a Keeley band from a really young age, playing tin whistle and fiddle. So I grew up a lot with the traditional Irish songs as well. So everything and anything was going into my little tiny brain. If I had to pick someone I'd want to work with in the near future, um, I'd have to say Chris Stapleton. I've been a fan of his before I knew of Chris Stapleton. I love bluegrass. And the Steel Drivers are an unreal bluegrass band. And in about 2015, I discovered them. And I was so in love with it. And then in like 2016, someone I was going on a date with was like, "Oh, have you heard of this guy, Chris Stapleton?" And I heard it and goes, "Oh, he sounds so familiar." Turns out he was the singer of the Steel Drivers. So I then fell in love with his solo stuff. And I love him, not only just his voice and his songwriting and his graft and his grind. I love the fact that he's a simple man. He, tours with his wife and his kids. His wife was his backup singer, but they were signed to the same publishing house. In his spare time, he goes fishing with his dad, or he's playing with his kids. And I just think that that's the kind of people I like to look up to.
Mm.
And obviously, as a fan of his work, I would obviously love to work with him.
Thank you for sharing that with me. And so you've made a new song called Emotional Rodeo. So tell us a bit more about that. Was it a long process or did it come together quite quickly?
The album took quite a long time to write, but that was my own doing. Because I felt like a year into writing the album, or even 2 years into writing the album, I found my feet. So I was like, I hate all these 50 other songs I've written, so I'm just going to write 50 more. It's a very me thing to do. The song itself took a really short time. I have a way of working in a writing environment if I'm not writing by myself when I work with others. So like I have these big documents. So if I come up with a song title or a song idea, I start a document on my notes app. And I flesh it out. I go up and I look up, clever idioms, turn of phrases, funny jokes, and to do with the thing. So like Emotional Rodeo, I obviously had to deep dive to be fully factual on rodeo. And I'm a horse girl myself, so I had a good amount of knowledge, but bull riding was not. So I did that. I wrote everything out, like all of the phrases, all the jokes, example lines, example lyrics, and then I dictaphone some stuff down. So I got to the writing session and I have, 5 or 6 of those going, and I let them pick which one their heart leaned to, and they picked Emotional Rodeo. So then we open up the doc, I invite them in, and we go from there. So the song was done in maximum of 2 hours. So quick.
And for our listeners who want to break into this kind of industry, how difficult is it? And also, what advice would you give to our listeners?
Wow. We're living in the best age for becoming an artist on your own. Because nowadays the record labels don't sign artists the way they used to. They used to like do development deals and like work with artists in that way. No. What they do is they wait for someone to pop themselves from hard work that they've done, and then they take it on when it's already number one, and then they sign them. And it's not the way it used to be. So what I'm trying to say is, the era we're living in is amazing. You can make videos from your phone. You can even record. Someone won a Grammy for an album that was recorded on an iPhone and produced on an iPhone. So it's all there in your fingertips, and you can do it by yourself. You don't need the help of anyone else. If you want it, it's out there. Obviously, it involves, putting yourself out there, making videos, singing your songs, sharing that kind of content. But it's amazing because like that's never before happened in this industry. It was a very much who you know. It's still in a lot of ways who you know, XYZ, but there is an avenue and a route for anyone who really, really wants it. So I think it's phenomenal.
And is there any future projects that you're currently working on, or is it all quite secretive at the moment?
I'm still working on this record because I have like 22, 24 songs I recorded in Nashville. So it got delayed and I'm still kind of finishing it off, but I'm just kind of mastering and mixing as I'm going and finishing other bits off. So as I'm promoting, I'm still promoting Emotional Rodeo, obviously, but I was in Abbey Road yesterday, mastering 3 other songs. And while this is kind of tailing off, I'm already working on the next few songs. And then honestly, I'm just going to see where it takes me. I tried not booking in too many things. There's a few projects in the other side of my life where, TV and stuff might be a thing, but as far as music, I'm pretty free, and it's a nice feeling. I'm just getting to ride the waves of making music and putting it out there and having a really fun time whilst doing it.
So, for our listeners at home who want to get a copy of your single, uh, and how can people get it? Is it going to be digital, or will there be a physical copy as well?
There already is. I always make physicals for everything I do. So there'll be physicals for the album, and that will include vinyl and cassette as well as CD. For this single, Emotional Rodeo, I made physical CDs, and we're almost sold out, which is insane. I do it because I know that um, it's there's people that have been collecting my music since I started releasing music. And I feel it would be unfair if I just randomly stopped making physicals, because then their little collection dies. So, and I like it as well. I think it's fun. Like, my mom loves them because I send her a bunch, and she just when people come visit, and she's like, "There you go, there's Janet's wee new single there. Have a wee listen." It's very old school. It's so old school, but I love it. And I think it's nice because it means I get to sign it and like send it off, and like there's art cards and stuff that go with it. So that is also there, and it's on every single platform. It's on YouTube Music, Spotify, Apple Music. You can still buy it on Apple Music and Amazon if anyone wants to get behind me and staying in the charts.
I'm sure plenty of people do, well, Janet. And I've got to say, for anybody that wants to follow you on social media, do you have like
Mhm.
Instagram, X, Facebook?
I have everything. Yeah. My biggest platform's TikTok, surprisingly. But that's not mostly for I've only just started really pushing my music on there. It's normally me just having rants and stuff and having a good time. But I'm on TikTok. There's a blue tick there. There's a blue tick on Instagram with Janet Devlin Official. Basically, look for the blue ticks apart from X, formerly known as Twitter, which is at Janet Jealousy. Don't ask. But it's the one with a load of followers. It's easy enough to get to.
And my final question for you, Janet, is because I like to give my the guest the final say. So, what would you like to say to our audience who is listening right
Ooh, I think it's a bigger message that's outside of me for this one. So I'm an independent artist. There's no multi-millions pounds worth of things going in here. And I think it's just a message from me as an indie artist to like four indie artists, and that is, we're living in an age where it's increasingly hard to stay afloat as independents. So every little thing helps. A purchase on iTunes, like one purchase is 150 streams. Those things actually have like direct impact. And I'm not saying it for myself. I'm just saying, if you have an artist that you love and you want them to continue making music, consider buying a t-shirt, consider buying their physical stuff or buying the songs on iTunes, because it's ever more present that those little things really, really do keep those artists in the industry.
now? Janet, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.